Sure. Hey, wrestling fans, welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. I'm your host, Krishna Dhanai, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Cutbush. Bill, how's it going?
It is going. I mean, not much has changed since yesterday, it just seems like we just spoke recently about wrestling or something. So
It's true.
so yeah, no, but about the same. Same kind of weather, same kind of stuff going on, pretty much the same stuff. Didn't even get a chance last night to watch an episode of Jack Ryan. So yes, people, I am tend to be very behind on my shows. I'm only on Jack Ryan now. You know why? Wrestling takes a lot of time, people. How are you doing?
Not bad. I mean, I'm also on season 3 of Jack Ryan, so I mean, if Bill's behind, then I guess I'm behind too. Yeah, busy week, obviously. A lot of wrestling, a lot. In this thing, had a lot of wrestling, but a lot of events happening. We went to the Smash show this past weekend. As we said yesterday, we did the Smash review. But yeah, it's Monday. It's funny. Someone asked me literally this morning, "Hey, Krish, how was your weekend? What'd you do?" And I blanked. I was like, "What? What did I do this weekend? What the heck?" And then I asked him, and he the same response. He's like, "You know what? I don't know." He's like, "That's why I asked you the question." I'm like, "Wow, clearly we need more sleep or something. What the heck?" But yeah, no, busy weekend. Back
Yes.
back to the grind, I guess.
Back to the grind. And the grind here on One Wing Wrestling is wrestling. Astonishing that it's even in the name of our show. So, yes, what we do here on the Mondays, this is our weekly thing. We're going to look at some of the news in the world of wrestling, especially that pertains to the leagues and people that we love, the elite leagues, the elite wrestlers. We're going to have a look at, maybe Dhanai's got a dirt sheet for us today. I don't know. I didn't ask him before the podcast. I'm going to put him on the spot. After we've done that, he's going to see if the rumors are they true or not. Then he's going to do his classic AEW Roundup, take a look at the non-Dynamite shows from the week, see if there's any good matches that y'all need to check out. And I will give my report from Japan, which is going to be just a little different this week. So
Ooh.
yeah, I will leave that hanging as like a teaser.
All right, all right, all right.
Okay. And then, of course, we'll give our matches and wrestlers of the
Oh
week
yeah,
as
of
always.
course, of
And
course.
Christian already mentioned it, but we did go to the Smash event this weekend. If you want to check out our review of that show, it is up on wherever you get your favorite podcasts right now. And of course, coming up this Wednesday, we will be doing our usual Dynamite review where we predict the show, we go watch it, we review the show. And if you like what you've been hearing on our podcast, please, by all means, give us that 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Comments, likes, subscribe on our YouTube channel, whatever you want, whatever you can do to help us out. It's always appreciated. So hit those buttons, people. Hit those buttons or throw forearms at them, even. Try that.
Elbow
Elbow
drops those
drops. Yeah,
buttons.
that works too. Anything, just hit it somehow. Anyway, with that, shall we get into some news there, Mr. Dhanai?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, we got some information. If you guys had listened to our Wednesday show, Krishna and I were kind of bitching about the fact that the Elite haven't been on the show for a couple of weeks. And we found out one of the reasons why that is the case. Mr. Kenny Omega, the god of pro wrestling, the best bout machine, was unable to cross the Canadian. What is with this border, man?
I don't know.
Seriously,
I
was
don't know.
unable to work due to a visa issue. Now, I got news for you, Canada, US, work this crap out. Like, there is no more important individual crossing the Canadian border to work in the United States than Kenny Omega. Work it out, people. Work it out.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like this is the third wrestler that we have seen in the past week or less past like couple days who was rejected to get into either Canada or the US for some odd reason, and I can't even explain it to you, right? I guess
Mm-hmm.
do they list now wrestler beside terrorist or something like that? Is that what's happening? Is that they're getting
Yeah, I
anyways,
don't
it's
know.
just stupid. I
Mm-hmm.
saw that, like, obviously, for the Jay Briscoe kind of tribute match they did for with Mark versus Jay Lethal. We watched all the wrestlers walk out. We
Mm-hmm.
saw the Bucks, and
Mm-hmm.
Kenny was missing. And I asked, I was like, where's Kenny?
Yeah.
And then right away, it comes out he had visa issues. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And apparently he really
that
wanted to
sucks.
be there, of
Of
course,
course,
right?
of
Yeah.
course. I mean, yeah. Anyways, yeah, it's really stupid. Like one of the dumbest things.
It really is. I mean, you hold up Jake something and the driver at the border for the
Yeah.
Smash show. I mean, then some border guard gets too full of himself or something and doesn't understand the rules. You get Kenny Omega being stuck on a visa issue in Canada.
Mhm.
Seriously, people, let's figure this stuff out so we can just enjoy wrestling.
Fair enough.
Speaking of enjoying wrestling, New Japan Strong has made some changes. New Japan Pro Wrestling has announced some changes to the New Japan Strong show. They are changing it over to have two components now. They are rebranding shows in North America. Any New Japan show in North America will now be run under the New Japan Strong brand, which is unlike what they were
Okay.
doing. So pay-per-view shows will now be called New Japan Strong Live. And then what they're going to do is at those events, they're going to take the matches and break them into 4 shows. And that's going to be your New Japan Strong Weekly, which is going to be called New Japan Strong On Demand. And that's where you get to watch all the matches from the live pay-per-view
Pay-per-view.
card, but you
Okay.
get to watch them staggered over 4 weeks, right?
Okay.
So you still get to see all the matches if you just have a New Japan World subscription, which by the way is still like $10 a month, people.
That's not
Seriously.
bad. That's actually really
It's
good.
great. You get a lot of value for that. You get all the New Japan Strong shows, and you get all their shows in Japan and the back catalog,
Mm-hmm.
like huge back catalog. But anyway, I'm not here to shill for New Japan. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be good. I'm actually looking forward to this format change. I think it's going to be big because you get to see these cards. Like remember the one they did in Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like those cards would presumably then be put up on New Japan Strong over 4 weeks after the event, which means if
Yeah,
you
that's
don't want
right.
to shell out the like 30 to $50 for the pay-per-view,
Mm-hmm.
um, you can just wait. Avoid spoilers, don't avoid spoilers, doesn't matter. They're probably going to be good matches anyway. So yeah, I'm looking forward to these changes. Sounds good. The
Yes.
first pay-per-view that will be in this format will be February 18th, Battle in the Valley in San Jose, which does feature a match between Mercedes Monet
Money,
taking on
money.
Kyrie. I'm sure they'll get 5 minutes. And then not that I'm bitter and resentful. And and a bunch of other matches too. But Kyrie versus Mercedes. The tickets for it with only that match announced just about sold out.
Wow. So well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I mean, that's what they were banking on, right? No pun
No
intended.
pun
No pun
intended.
intended. But she's a draw.
Yep.
So there
There
you
you
go.
go. So, yes, we had one other news item to talk about. Krishna, would you like to tell us about some comments that Mr. Seth Rollins made this week?
I
And I
will, I
mean,
will, but
yeah,
before I get into that, before I jump into that,
okay.
do you have any Briscoe news to talk about right now or today? Or
I have none personally,
okay.
other than
No,
if
no,
you want to talk about the tribute show.
no. I haven't had a chance to watch tribute show yet. It's
Okay.
3 hours long.
Yes, exactly. Neither one of
But
us have finished it yet. I've started it, but I haven't finished it.
last night I got a chance, and I just remembered this, so I wanted to mention it. I got a chance to watch the funeral for
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Jamie Pugh, Jay Briscoe. The Laurel District School Board were allowed to broadcast it on YouTube, so if anyone wants to check it out, it's actually on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. And it's the full funeral service, like it's the entire thing. So you say Jay's parents, you see a lot of wrestlers there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was able to see Tony Khan. Apparently, Tony Khan got a jet. There
Yes,
you
he
go.
did.
And
Yeah.
hire and you can pinpoint. Like I saw the FTR. I saw all of like I saw Mox. I could pinpoint Mox. I'm like that guy over there looks like Mox, but it was
Mm-hmm.
Mox. But you also saw Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens after their big match,
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania, not Royal Rumble. But it was a very very good ceremony. Mark's speech was very well done. Like he starts off by saying, he's not really good at speaking the English language, right? He's never been good at that. But then he continues and he gives a really good speech. Like, yeah, okay,
Mm-hmm.
he may not be good at English, but what he's trying to convey was actually very well put forth. And one thing he brought up was the fact that yes, and everyone knows this,
Mm-hmm.
like Jamin Pugh, Jay Briscoe, like he was a God-fearing man. Like he believes in God, he loves
Mm-hmm.
God and everything like that. But one thing Mark said is like, don't get this confused. Jay Briscoe loved God. He goes, they all love God, but they hate religion. And I was like, what the hell? Right? And he's like, because we don't
Yeah.
believe that you have to go to a church and have to do all these things just to be.
Hmm.
And I was like, when he said it, I was like, you know what? Good on you. Good on you. And like, for all the people out there who are saying, these guys are like hicks, they're racist. Listen, relax yourself, right? Go listen to this guy's speech that he gave his
Hmm.
brother. It's actually very, very well done. And then
Yep.
his father actually goes up before him, and gives a speech, and you kind of get the sense of why they had to go through such hardships and learn the way that they learn. I'm not going to get into
Hmm.
that anymore because it's not worth it. But great, it was. I hate to say that, it's a great. It was. It literally felt like it was a celebration of life. It was like
Right.
Mark was making jokes, and as much, and he kept saying, he's like he believes his brother's in a better place. That's
Right.
it.
Well,
Like
I
he
mean,
and
they even called the tribute show "Celebration of Life,"
celebration of
right?
life,
And
and
the
yeah,
announcer's talking about keeping it
yeah.
light and
Because
good
he said
memories and
he
that
said
kind of
Jay
stuff.
would never want this to be like people mourning
Hmm.
and stuff like that. And again, the family can mourn, and whoever needs to mourn can do that as well.
Yeah.
But just watching Mark deliver his speech and the way he's coping with it, I was like, man, I'm impressed with this guy. This guy is
Yeah.
very, very impressive. So
Well,
my just quick shout out, if anyone has a chance to, if you're a fan, if you even if you weren't a fan and you want to just see the tribute, just go on. It's on YouTube, so you can just
yep.
watch it the entirety. So
Hmm.
go ahead
No,
and check it out.
that's great. No, I plan on checking that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also noticed too, just in some more Jay Briscoe
Hmm.
news, so the whole family seems to really have their heads screwed on straight.
Hmm.
Like the fact that the family came out, not only updated the condition of their children to the
Yes.
public a few days ago, but also said, would you people please stop attacking the family
Yeah.
of the person driving the other car,
Yeah.
right? The other truck,
Yeah.
because they don't deserve it. This is God's will. It happened. We've forgiven them completely. There isn't as much need of help as we are. They provided the link to that person's
Hmm. Hmm.
whatever those sites are where you can donate money to them to
Uh,
help them out with the
yeah.
funeral expenses
The
and stuff.
GoFundMe or
Like,
whatever it is. Yeah.
how class do you have to be? Seriously. I mean, just these are amazing human
Yeah.
beings, and they are an example to all of us. They're an example of how to learn from your past mistakes and grow as people.
Hmm.
They're examples of how to handle a disaster in your family. I mean, it blows my mind. Like, like they talked about how Jay, even in his death, provides a mission, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell. Look at the lessons people are getting out of this. Look at the impact he's having on
Hmm.
lives. Look, like even we're sitting here talking about it, right? Like that is phenomenal. This one man has had this effect even after his death on so many people
Yeah.
in the world. It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And for me, not even being like was I didn't like I knew who the Briscoes were, but I didn't
Hmm.
really care to watch their matches and stuff like that. Now, as you know, I'm total regret of not being
Yeah.
able to see them wrestle. But no, but if you
Yeah.
have a chance again, go watch the ceremony. It's very well done. And yeah,
Hmm.
and to your point, apparently a lot of the wrestlers have donated to the other family as well. So
Well,
that's
that's it's wonderful, right? Because
yeah.
I mean, the Briscoes really, their family. They're
Mhm.
just they're so, I mean, they're such great examples of what they talk about,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's it. They put their actions where their words go.
Yeah,
So it's very,
great
very
family,
classy,
great
very
family.
classy.
And
Now
now for a
speaking,
total
yeah,
180.
total 180 from class. We will now talk about Seth
so
Rollins and
so
CM
Seth
Punk.
Rollins was at a WWE 2K23 kind of like game showcase, and Nick Hausman, this poor guy, Nick Hausman,
Hmm.
if anyone remembers Nick Hausman, he's
Oh,
the
I know.
guy that
I
really,
remember Nick Hausman.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was the guy from the Fallout from All Out, who didn't say anything but immediately got attacked by
Yeah.
by CM Punk. Because apparently he used to be friends with Colt Cabana, but that's not the case. Anyways,
Hmm.
so Nick Hausman asked the question: now, what are the chances? Yeah, you and CM Punk have had some pretty good matches. Like, what are the chances of anything that happening? So we have to remember this was fully in character,
Hmm.
right? Fully in character. So Seth Rollins says, "Oh, Philly Phil, stay away." He's like, stay away, you cancer. Get away from me forever. Yeah, I don't like Phil. I don't like Phil. He's a jerk. Did we just figure that out? Did we just figure that out? Everybody in the room's like, oh no, did he just say that? Yeah, no, he's a jerk. come on, we figured it out over there. We knew it over here. I don't want him back. Go do something else. Bye bye. Bye bye. See you later. So
Mm-hmm.
so this is Seth Rollins. Now, here are my thoughts on this. This can go either way, right?
Yeah.
Either this is Seth Rollins, like this again, fully in character. This is Seth Rollins fully in character. But him being in character, he could either be telling the truth,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or who knows? Maybe he knows things are in the works, so he's playing this up to draw attention to it, right? Either way, he said it drew attention because we saw it and we're like, holy crap, right? But then when I watched the video, I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
okay, this is fully done in character. Now, either way, it was hilarious to watch because Seth, again, as much as we put down WWE, we will admit they have some great wrestlers there, and Seth
Yeah.
Rollins is one of their great wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he reinvents himself all the time, and the fans are behind him because they don't know if they should love him or hate him, but they just cheer for this guy. And this character, like Sam said it to me the other day, my buddy Sam, and he's like, he reminds me of the Joker, how absolutely chaotic he is, and he laughs at everything, and he just seems like he's insane. I'm like, I never thought about that. That's probably who he's going for, like that personality. So with this, like the Joker, you're kind of like, I don't know where this is going. This can either be a total like this could be a play to like make sure everyone's listening and that maybe people are gonna think, hey, CM Punk's coming back, or this could be Seth Rollins just being like, no, we don't want him back. We don't care. He's never
Mm-hmm.
coming back to us again. Right.
Right.
Either way, it was hilarious. I thought I couldn't stop laughing. What'd you think about this one?
See, I haven't seen the video. I
Okay.
only saw the words.
Mhm.
So of course I didn't see the tone. I appreciate the context. Thank you. Yeah, I kind of have two minds about it. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, I don't think it's a dig. I mean, Tyler Black, Seth Rollins, he knows the Young Bucks, he knows
Yeah.
Kenny. Yeah, it's not like he doesn't know these people, so he's probably just having some fun.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that's what this was. It's just Seth Rollins having a little
Having fun.
fun, answering that question and then turning it into a joke because he really doesn't want to talk about it. And that's one way to shut it
Yep.
down totally. And I could see that being, and a way to do it where it still generates buzz,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I think
Mm-hmm.
above all, one of the reasons Seth Rollins is where Seth Rollins is because he understands how to sell,
Oh yeah,
you know?
100%.
So yeah, I know this guy got into it with Will Ospreay once not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's Seth Rollins. I don't know. I kind of have like a very neutral opinion of it. Part of me
Yeah.
doesn't like it because I'm just kind of like, do we need to get, but it's like rubbing an old wound, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
do we need to keep bringing this crap up? And the other half of me is just like, okay, yeah, it's just Seth Rollins having some fun and it's just WWE stuff anyway. So I
Yeah.
kind of don't care, right? I mean, look, a buddy of mine sent me a video that has like that someone put together, which is like the Bloodline storyline pieced together into
Mm-hmm.
like one coherent video.
Mm-hmm.
It's only like 15 minutes long. I'm gonna watch that, and that'll be the only 15 minutes of WWE I'm going to watch in the next. Well, if they do the Bloodline storyline that well again, let's say I give them another 15 minutes. So I'm going to say this is one of two potential 15-minute segments of time I will give to WWE this year.
But they're not going to do it anyways. They're not going to do it right because
Right.
remember, Cody won the Royal Rumble, so he's going to go up against Roman Reigns for the belts.
Yes,
It's
and
not
they
going to be
still
Sami
they still
Zayn.
have a YouTube star that apparently can actually wrestle decently, jumping
Oh
around in their ring. So
yeah, credit where credit's due. Like one of the best, the best spots. And again, as I told you, Bill, from
Mhm.
my Royal Rumble recap that I gave you the other day, Kofi should just give up his Kofi spots, and it can be like the Kofi misses from now on. So he'll attempt something, and he just misses it. I'm in for that. We're like, oh my god, and then everyone can pretend like, what was he trying to do? Was he trying to do this and this and
I know, right? You know what WWE is missing though? Seriously, actual comedy wrestlers that are funny.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have them.
They
Because
have
one,
they
the
have
comedy was written by an 80-year-old man who doesn't
yeah,
have a clue what's going on anymore. Or two, it's written by Triple H's idea of comedy is DX.
yeah. That's it.
So
That's right.
yeah, their comedy stinks.
Yeah. You're right. It does stink.
Yeah. So anyway, that's enough WWE. I have one more point though, Krishna, and I just
Sure.
have to bring this up in the main news segment because it is this vitally important to my life. Wrestle Kingdom. Do you know who the number one first person's merchandise was sold out at Wrestle Kingdom?
From the previous Wrestle
This
Kingdom?
one that just passed, January 4th,
Um,
2023.
I'm gonna
That
say
night,
Will
no,
Ospreay?
no, his merchandise was not the first sold out.
Kenny?
Tam Nakano.
Tam Nakano.
Her
Wow. Okay.
merchandise was the first to sell out. And as Matt Turner said, former wrestler, or I guess current wrestler, indie wrestler, and podcaster, said, it's a good thing they gave her 5 minutes to tell her story. Yeah. Yeah. Way to go, people. Number one merchandise seller at Wrestle Kingdom, and they give her 5
5 minutes.
minutes.
Maybe she had to go back to the locker room and sell her merchandise, and maybe she's the
Maybe,
reason why it sold.
Yeah.
She was just there posing the fans.
Yeah.
Hey,
Kawaii of the Cosmos, people. Number one Kawaii of the Cosmos. Sells the most merch. Just saying. Okay. Well, this brings us then to Dhanai's dirt sheet. You got a dirt sheet for me this week,
I
Dhanai?
do. I have one item, and I
Okay,
want your
let's hear
thoughts on
it.
this. I was gonna bring it up in the news, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna leave this one for the dirt sheet because
Okay.
you need to leave the dirt sheet. So there was a picture taken at the Royal Rumble. Unfortunately, I went back to the Royal Rumble again. A AEW star was actually at the Royal Rumble. I'm not sure if you heard about this. Yeah, I think you did. You're nodding. No, you didn't. Okay, good. He accompanied Cody Rhodes. It was a certain, and this picture was taken. It was Ricky Starks was at the Royal Rumble backstage.
Okay.
Now, we know that Ricky Starks is like best friends with Cody Rhodes or whatever. When Cody left, Ricky and what's the guy's name? Now I'm forgetting his name. Anyways, they caused a scene when they went to get his stuff at AEW, and I was like, really? Are they that immature? But whatever. Is this indication that Ricky Starks is headed to WWE, Bill?
No. It's no
Do you
indication
think
he's headed to the WWE. I mean, a lot of these guys are friends. And
they're
like you
friends?
said,
Yes.
he's friends with Cody. Now, it doesn't mean
Yes.
that Cody could influence him to come. Sure.
True.
And if they want a bargain basement rock as part of the WWE, because that's how he'll be billed, that's great. If he wants to actually put on wrestling matches, he'll stay in. And look, guys, this isn't me being tribal. This is just facts. Tell me I'm wrong. Because the wrestling in AEW is heads and tails better than the wrestling in WWE. That's not to say that he won't get big glamorous entrances, better production except for the camera cuts, and all that kind of stuff. Wonderful. He's welcome to it. If he wants to go there and he wants to do that because his buddy Cody Rhodes is there, power to him. But as of this moment, I don't even know when his contract's up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea what his contract is
No.
and when it's up. Because I know Frankie Kazarian, like he said that they had an option on his contract for 2 more years, and he actually asked them to not go through with it. Right, he talked to Mega and kind of got that all cleared up and asked for his release, and it was all good. I just think that a lot of our shows that we have is like we have so many wrestlers on any show you watch right now. You're gonna get lost in the mix. Like, so if you're getting pushed now, maybe stick with it. Maybe like that's probably where you're gonna get your biggest push, because you're right. Like, I like Ricky Starks, but I like him, and I think he can do better than he's been doing recently. I just don't know like where they're going with the booking, not with the booking, more like the story itself and his how he's acting. But yeah, you know, if you were to ask me if this like would AEW lose anything if they lost Ricky Starks, I'm gonna say no, they wouldn't. Right. And that's just telling you what the stories that I'm getting now and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, you know, he could be a mid-level guy. Great. We have a lot of mid-level guys, right?
Yep.
So yeah, when I saw it and I heard the story, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think he's going there. But that's just me saying, you know, I don't know anything about his contract. Once it comes up, who knows?
Right.
Who knows? Right.
Yep. But it brings up a very interesting point that just struck me about we say we don't know what he's doing recently. And really, we're not talking about his wrestling. His wrestling's been fine for Ricky Starks. It's just his promos have been off. And they've been off because they've been very sports entertainment-y or low-hanging fruit jokes. Right. And I mean like I've realized something. The promos that you and I keep saying are the good ones, the ones where like, oh man, that was a good promo. They're always tied to something kind of real. Right. Yeah. Or they've got kind of a sports entertainment shtick that we know is going to be sports entertainment for the purposes of it. Like, House of Black, for all they are, their promos are very sports entertainment. Amazing. They're dark sports entertainment, but they're amazing. And they have sort of a realism around Malachi Black, right? Like you can feel that he believes this character to a certain point, right? Like it's a great way for him to have some kind of catharsis. And the way that the other guys have thrown themselves into their characters. The Jericho Appreciation Society, they do the whole thing as a joke, and it's a joke, right? Yeah. Like everyone's in on it, so it's hilarious, right? So that kind of sports entertainment, we're down with it. But the minute you make sports entertainment where a guy's supposed to be real, when MJF is doing his stupid shtick, where Ricky Starks is doing his shtick, right? Like it's at that point I check out, because that's not the kind of promo I want to hear. That's the kind of thing that I get scripted at me at WWE sometimes when I used to watch it. And it's like, I don't like that kind of promo. I want real. I want the Eddie Kingstons. I want the John Moxleys. I want a pro wrestling promo. If you're not going to give me a pro wrestling promo, then I want believable sports entertainment, not lowball sports entertainment.
Yeah. And that's it, right? It's just been like below average. And I'm like, I used to enjoy these promos, and now I'm not really enjoying them at all. So I'm like, I know. I could care less for this storyline.
He needs to get back into the whole, bringing himself up and that kind of stuff. Like some of his more real promos he was cutting right before he got the title shot there or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now he's going for the low-hanging fruit again. It's like him and MJF have both kind of fallen in a pit of lowest common denominator promos. I mean, MJF's trying to make a bit of a comeback now, putting a little bit more of that guy behind the mask into his thing. I mean, he's got the potential to cut good promos. We know that. So, dude, lose the sports entertainment shtick. Anyway, so cool. Ricky Starks, no idea. Doubt he's going today. Don't know his contract. So that brings us to the AEW Roundup. What you got for us, Krishna?
Cool. So yeah, AEW this week has been pretty good. So I mean, let's if jump into Elevation. Like there was a match. I think it was a main event actually. Dark Order versus Pretty Peter Avalon, Ryan Nemeth and Serpentico. It's a very odd combination, but they've been teaming up for a while now. Great tag match. Like it just shows you how good Dark Order is, like working together. Like they're so like their tags, their tag team combinations are fantastic, and they actually pick up the win here with their tag team combination. Is actually the Reynolds and Silver combination, because I think Uno had got taken out, and it's so crazy to see what they do together. And you're like, yeah, these guys are tag team partners, and they've been like that for a while. So yeah, Dark Elevation. If you can watch the actual main event, it's great. Dark. So just some quick points. Britt broke her nose. That's what happened. That's how her injury happened. I didn't actually see how it happened. I went back. I think it's when she hit her face on the floor or something like that. Okay. But like, yeah, she was fine. And then Excalibur suddenly said, and Britt's bleeding, and you could see her nose is bleeding. And then he said, she broke that nose. That was the one that took her out for a while. So that's probably why she was off of Dynamite for
precautions
this past week. Yeah, just precautions. But she seemed fine. I mean, she was okay.
Yeah, and Meltzer said it's expected to be very short term.
Yeah. And she kind of wiped her nose. Like she took the blood and wiped on the girl's forehead to like distract her. It's just Brit. She's awesome. That was one thing. So Matt Sydal faced off against. So Matt Sydal, haven't seen him in a while. He was against Cesar Bonone from the Wingmen, Peter Avalon's group. Now Sydal wins. So the match itself was okay. I mean, it's just a standard Sydal match. But the funny parts were, if anyone's been watching recently, Peter Avalon had long hair. He had like his hair had grown out a bit, but then he cut it. So he's gone for the I think it was Paul White who made the comment that his hair went from like a 70s like like movie star to like an 80s action star because it was cut shorter. But in this match, he had long hair, and they said he had asked to have extensions put in. So I thought that was kind of funny. He's so dumb. I love him. But at the end of the match, basically, Seidel wins, gets jumped, and this is important because who came out to save him? Top Flight. So my assumption are Top Flight and Seidel are probably going to face off against the Wingman, and that's, you know what, that's a match I want to see because I love Top Flight. But there was 2 matches that did I jump here? No, I didn't. We're in dark. Yeah, so there are 2 matches that I wanted to just bring to everyone's attention. First, Action Andretti versus not Bear Bronson, but Iron Savage's Bronson. That's what he's called now. I was like, oh,
Iron Savage's Bronson.
yeah. So they call him Bronson, like he's called Bronson, but he's part of Iron Savages. So I'm like, cool. I guess they changed their name. I guess Bear Country is no longer. I like Bear Country. I don't know what they
Bear
took that
Country
out.
was fine. What's wrong with Bear Country?
Yeah,
Iron
but
Savages.
This is a good match. Like this is my kind of match. Like Andretti doing all he can do for the flips, and Bronson just like powering him all over the place. Bronson, with a superplex, getting a superplex. Andretti just like doing whatever he can. There was one point where I think Andretti overshot a tope suicida and almost ran into the ramp on the top. I was like, holy crap, dude, slow down. But now, great match. Obviously Andretti's getting the big push here, so that's good.
Yep.
And the main event, the Workhorseman's Anthony Henry versus Mascara Dorada. Now, I had seen this guy's name before, but I didn't know who he was. And I was shocked. I'm like, oh, he's on AEW Dark. Okay, here we go. Great match. Great match. Like, I was shocked, actually, not from Dorada, from Henry.
Again?
And I don't know why.
You keep getting shocked by Henry. What's up with that? Every time you see him, you're like, oh my God, this Henry guy is so good.
I always assume he's not as good as he is. But again, every time I see this guy, I'm always impressed. Maybe I'm impressed because I never see him on like just regular TV. It always has to be Dark or Elevation. But he's really, really good. Dorada gets the pin, but these 2 guys went back and forth and tons of lucha stuff. And not only from like Dorada, like Henry's really good as well. So yeah, if you can, like, check that match out. That match is fantastic. And then quickly, just my last match, Rampage. If you haven't seen it, Yuta versus Hangman. My God, like I think Hangman's trying to kill everyone in the Blackpool Combat Club because these guys were hitting each other hard. Like Yuta does such a good job, and then Hangman to finish him off with the Death Rider.
Yeah,
I was like, what the hell? I'm like, okay, that's a message directly to Mox. So if they haven't made the Mox match this week exciting, like a must watch, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like now Hangman's picking up wins all over the place. I'm like, does Hangman lose this week? Like, what does Mox? Like, now it's kind of up in the air. Who knows, right? So you know what? Great matches. And yeah, watch if you can check those out. Like, if anything, I would say you could check out I really like the Henry versus Dorado match, obviously.
Yes.
Right.
Lucha things.
Yeah, Lucha things. And a very, 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 very close second, like a 1B would have to be the Hangman match. But man, it was very, very good.
Next week, I look forward to your AEW Roundup where you say, there's this guy, Anthony Henry, and he's really good. You guys have got to check him out.
There's this guy, Anthony Henry. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's really good.
Exactly. I'm going to add a match to your AEW Roundup.
Okay.
Jamie Hayter versus Emi Sakura.
So yes, that I did. I like that match. I did, but I was thinking that I was adding too many matches to my list. So I'm like, you know what? I got to take one out.
Dude, I actually like that better than the Hangman Yuta match. Yeah. Okay. I loved this match. The way they told the story in this match, I just thought was so well done. The hitting, both their chests were a mess after the match, right? The way that was like Sakura saying, I beat you back in 2019. She's trained all these other women like and they built her up as a real obstacle for Hayter, and she pummeled Hayter for most of this match. She had an answer to everything Hayter was throwing at her, right? I mean, it's the best I've seen Emi Sakura
I was gonna
in
say
an AEW
her
ring. This is
her
the Emi
better
Sakura I
matches.
know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
exists, right?
yeah.
And that she just needs the opponents like a Jamie Hayter to go up against, right? And Hayter was phenomenal in this match, right? I absolutely loved that match.
They just
Loved it.
keep her on Dark and Elevation, right? Because like I'm
Mm-hmm.
assuming she's training probably a lot of these younger stars. Is my
Mm-hmm.
assumption is why they keep her there. But like, yeah, I agree. No, that match was great as well. It's I feel like every time I watch. So here's my thing:
Mm-hmm.
watching Dark, watching Elevation, I see a lot of
Yep.
Emi Sakura matches, and I'm
Yes.
always like, here we go.
Yep.
Here we go. So I'm a little tainted. However, I must admit, the match against Hater, maybe it was on TV. That's why. That's probably why it was so much better. But
Maybe.
I had fun with it. I actually had fun
Mm-hmm.
with it. And it's almost like maybe they don't put her on TV too much because maybe it's taking time away from other people.
It might
But
be,
I
and
don't
I
know.
think that like her role, she's getting to the end. Like,
Yeah.
she's approaching the twilight of her career, shall we say. She can clearly still go. And I
Yep.
mean, that was phenomenal. But I mean, the people that she's actually trained, the people she's worked with, like her record is phenomenal. And for her to go out and have a match, like you could see at the end of the match, she kind of rolls when she's rolling, or when Hater's rolling off, her Hater's hair kind
Mm-hmm.
of covers her face, and you can see them talk to each other just very briefly. And I would love to know what they said to each other at that point,
Yeah.
because like what a match, it was actually my favorite match on all of
Oh,
AEW
that
this week. So
okay. All
yeah,
right.
I
Okay.
absolutely loved it. It just the back and forth and all that kind of stuff. Loved it. So I'm gonna add one to your
All
AEW
right.
roundup
Fair
this
enough.
week.
Fair enough.
So yeah. So with that, we are going to go to Japan, but we are going to
Mhm.
go to Japan in some very interesting fashions today, because we're going to take a certain individual from Japan, Mr. Rocky Romero, part of
Mhm.
Chaos,
Mhm.
and part of the best friends in AEW. And he had a little event on January 20th in Mexico City with CMLL. And he had a title match against Volador Jr. For the NWA World Welterweight Championship January 20th in Mexico City. This match is available free on YouTube on the
Oh, okay.
CMLL channel. Well, actually, all CMML events from start to finish are available for free on YouTube.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. This match, this was Dave Meltzer's match of the week.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Now, I wouldn't put it as my match of the
Mhm.
week, but it's a
Okay.
very good match. Okay. Like we get to see Rocky Romero playing a heel. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, because Volador Jr. is like he doesn't wear a mask, but he's kind of got like Fabio length hair, and he's like, the good looking built Mexican guy, right? And then Rocky Romero, he's kind of playing the smart. Did you know that his nickname is Azucar? And
Who, Rocky
Azucar,
Romero?
see, I actually knew what that meant. See, I was like, yeah, Rocky Azucar Romero. It means sugar. I know Krishna's
Okay.
laughing.
All
His
right.
nickname is, they were calling him
Sugar.
that.
All
I could
right.
hear the announcers talking to him, like, "Oh yeah, it's Azukar." I'm like, "That's so." I looked it up. I'm like, "Oh my god, his nickname is Azukar." Wow.
Sugar.
So
All right.
Sugar, he's Rocky Sugar Romero. So yeah, they had a lot of really good spots. It started kind of slower. The dives. I mean, these guys were just like diving halfway across the ring, right? Um, Volador at one point did this incredibly wicked. Oh, it was. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Romero. He had Volador standing. He took his arm and then he climbed up the rope, still holding Volador's arm, and then he jumped off the top and knee dropped on his freaking arm, taking him from a standing position to the ground while grinding his knee into his arm, setting him up for
Wow.
his like Diablo armbar finisher. Yeah, there was a lot of like dives into rails. Romero hit a suplex off the guardrail, like standing on the guardrail, and suplexed Volador off of it. I mean, there were some crazy spots in this match, like good like lucha style flippy type spots, right? I mean, it's CMML or it's
Yeah, it's true.
CMLL, right?
Yeah.
Oldest wrestling promotion in the world, I believe.
Really?
Formed in
Okay.
1933, I think. So yeah, the they were talking a bit about that on the announcers. I think, was it the announcers, or where was I hearing that today? I was hearing it somewhere today, that it was, maybe it was on Wrestling Observer Radio, I don't know. But anyway, the match itself, Rocky Romero ends up winning the title. So he gets him though with his Diablo armbar, but he does it in a way where he's got him on the top rope and takes him off the top rope and lands with the armbar applied.
Hmm.
I was like, crazy, absolutely crazy. I'm like, I would recommend checking this match out. I would not put it quite as high as Meltzer did. I thought it was a little slower, but the crowd, oh my god, the
They
crowd was
loved it.
so behind Volador. I mean, seriously, they like you could hear the women screaming for the guy in the crowd and stuff, right? It was good. The crowd helped the match too, so I really enjoyed it. Good story. I mean, Volador hit so many good moves, right? Canadian Destroyer for a near fall. Romero used Trent Beretta's crunchy move, the back pile driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But there were no best friends there though. It was just Rocky by himself with a couple of cronies that would have made the Kevin Bennett proud.
Oh, got it. Got
Yes,
it. All right.
yes. Then we're going to take a little trip to New Japan Strong for a match between two, I believe they're both Mexican wrestlers. So there's a bit of a Mexico theme in today's Japan report. It's Mysterioso taking on Mystico.
Hmm.
Mystico being the former Sin Cara.
Yes, that
For
I
those
know.
of you, yes. So for those of you, and both of them are under masks. So um, this was a Lucha Things match, but it was a pretty fun Lucha Things match. We all know
Nice.
Sin Cara Mystico can
Yes.
jump around an awful lot. So you had a lot of that in this match. Planches outside the ring. There was a lot of, Alex Kozlov at one point after Mysterioso did a move. Alex Kozlov's like the heel commentator on Strong, and he's like, Mysterioso, by the way, is extremely lactose tolerant.
What the hell?
Like that is my line of the week from from an announcer. He is extremely lactose tolerant to prove how tough he is. Oh, there was like top rope hurricane ranas out to outside of the ring. It was like catching drop kicks, thrust kicks. It's exactly what you would expect from a match like this, right? The pace wasn't quite as fast as I would have liked it in places.
Hmm.
Mysterioso does wrestle a bit more of a heel style, likes to slow it down some. It wasn't like a flat out lucha things from beginning to end, but it is
Hmm.
100% worth checking it out.
Nice.
He got another armbar. He got Mystico, threw him off the ropes, and caught him in an armbar for the tap out. So what do you mean? Yeah, Mystico beat
Mystico.
Mysterioso with the La Mystica armbar. So yeah, solid match, worth checking out. New Japan Strong from this week. My
Nice.
final match will take me a couple minutes to talk about because we're going to Stardom. Of course, we're
Big
going to Stardom.
surprise.
I know, right? Takadanobaba on January the 21st. Giulia, another big surprise, I'm sure, in a 10-person gauntlet match.
Oh wow. Okay.
Now, each person in this match gets 3 minutes to see if they can beat Giulia one after the other. Okay. A pinfall either eliminates the person or eliminates Giulia and the match stops. She proposed this match herself at a January 5th press conference because she said, I'm looking ahead to my match with Suzuki on February 4th. I'd like to propose a trial for myself. And so she told the promoter to hear her out. She says, I don't have a tournament match with my team that day. I don't want to be in some kind of pointless match. So let me face 10 people. 10 people sounds about right to warm her up. Well, I'm going to tell you something. This match was freaking insane. Her first opponent was super strong Stardom Machine, who just came in. I mean, seriously, super strong Stardom Machine came in and was like taking her down with shoulder blocks and shoulder tackles and really weakening her down, right? Like the she she also body slammed Giulia. I'm like, wait, why didn't she just pin her? She body
Yeah.
slammed her,
Body
right?
slam.
I
Who
know. Isn't
doesn't
that
see
the
body
most
slams?
devastating move
It
in
is.
professional wrestling? I know. Like, anyway, unfortunately for super strong Stardom Machine, Giulia did work her over for a bit. Super strong Stardom Machine headbutted her way out, got her with a running forearm, but the bell sounded. And so super strong Stardom Machine had to leave the ring. The next opponent was Koguma, the bear, the high speed genius. So she came out, but she wanted to do like the bear ears gimmick with Giulia constantly, and Giulia would have none of it. And that was basically their 3 minutes was her trying to get the bear ears on Giulia and Giulia not wanting. So it was a bit of a comedy spot, right?
So if you don't pin her within the 3 minutes, you leave, and
You
then the
leave.
next person.
Yes.
Okay.
Bell rings, you're done. Next person comes out. So, the match is going to have a maximum time of 30 minutes, right?
Okay.
10 people, 3 minutes each. So yeah, anyway, this was kind of the comedy spot in the whole thing. Koguma got fed up with her not wanting to do it, and she actually left. She put her sweater on and started walking away, and then Giulia chased her down, dragged her back in the ring, but the Koguma locked her sweater around Giulia, tied her kind of on the ropes, and put the bear ears on her and was laughing. And it was shortly after that Giulia body slammed Koguma. The bell was ringing. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So Koguma. So, but Giulia's starting to show minor little bits of fatigue, but nothing bad yet. Thekla was third, her DDM stablemate, and they had a really cool little match. And now it got kind of serious, right? I mean,
Mhm.
Tekla's a very good wrestler. They had a good like mat wrestling sequence in that one. There was right at the end. Giulia nailed her with a crossbody, gets her locked in an armbar, and the bell rings just as the armbar is locked on. So yet another draw. Tekla's out. They kind of smile at each other, and that was the end of that. Um, she gets Hina fourth. Hina is, I believe she just turned 16 or 17
Oh
this
wow.
year. Yeah, very, very young, very new. One of three sisters that are in Stardom right now, and
Hmm.
probably, and I mean, this is no knock on her. She's not a bad wrestler. Probably the least talented currently of the
Got it.
three, least interesting character. She got a couple moves in, but this is the only one Julie actually pinned. So so she takes her out, pins her, and then things get very serious. This is where the match completely ramps up. You've had like a couple fairly easy wrestlers and a comedy segment, right? Hazuki comes out. Hazuki is having none of this at all. I mean, Hazuki is amazing for Wilder, one of my favorite wrestlers in Stardom. She comes out on fire, drops Julie with a big boot, body slam, senton, locks on a crossface. I mean, she's tossing her around by her hair. I mean, she just goes nuts on Julie, just starts beating her down, right? She shrugs off Julia's forearms. It was my God, there was this moment in this segment. She hauled Julia up and they just started wailing at each other with forearms, and you thought it was never going to end. It was both them at the same time, just constant forearms. I was like, holy crap, is this going to stop anytime soon? Nope. They just kept wailing on each other. It was nuts. That Julia hits a suplex on Hazuki. Hazuki pops up out of it like as if it did nothing to her. No sells it completely, suplexes Julia back, and the bell goes. So that was the
Oh.
end of Hazuki's little thing. But at this point, she got pretty beat down by Hazuki, right? So she's now starting to show some wear and tear. She's just lying in the ring, and Tam Nakano comes out.
Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. So she's got Julia like lying on the canvas, right? She's just standing there looking at her, like, and then Julia finally gets up. They stare at each other. Julia offers her hand. Tam looks at the hand and then just attacks her. She doesn't bother shaking. She drops Julia with a kick. Julia gets up. She roundhouses her down, hits a tiger suplex. But then Julia starts coming back with some moves of her own. But then Tam nails Julia with Julia's own glorious driver for a 2 count. But anytime Julia pinned Tam was popping out at 1. Right. I mean, I think they were just showing the story of Julia's fatigue at this point.
Mhm.
She's being beat down by fresh wrestlers over and over again, right? Julia came back and nailed a Michinoku driver for 1. They were slapping each other. Tam was screaming at Julia. The bell rings. Then Tam just kind of gives her like a bit of a respect handshake, like, okay, you're fine. Because they are longtime rivals, right? 7th is Saki, who is, by the way, Stardom's belt collector.
Oh,
She
okay.
she currently has the Actress Girls Colors Championship, the Pro Wrestling Wave Tag Team Championship, and the Pure J Daily Sports Women's Tag Team Championship. She doesn't even wait for Julia to get up. She doesn't wait for a bell. She
Oh
just
no.
beelines for Julia and just starts beating on her, right? Kicking her, springboard vertical suplex, running shotgun drop kick, big boot. She challenges Julia to get up and hit her, which she does. They exchange kicks. Julia hits a German suplex. Saki pops up and lands a Michinoku driver, then locks in the sharpshooter. Right, Saki pump handle slams her, a running vertical suplex. Like she ran at, she picked her up in the suplex and then
Mhm.
ran with her to throw her down. Right, and the bell rings. So Saki just basically beat the crap out of Julia for 3 minutes. And Natsupoi comes out next. So Julia's just lying on the mat. Natsupoi looks determined, immediately drop kicks Julia out to the apron, multiple kicks to her while she's out on the apron, then a German on the apron, dumping her to the outside, huge cross body outside, rolls her in the ring. She just beats her relentlessly with forearms, slaps, and but Julia just screams at her, right? Though she can't mount any offense. She pulls Julia to her feet. They exchange forearms until Julia finally headbutts Natsupoi. Brief bulldog choke. She gives Natsupoi the glorious driver, but Natsupoi actually rolls through it and gets a 2 count on Julia. She nails the Ferial Gift, which is one of her finishing moves. This is like a cartwheel moonsault off the top. She nails it on Julia, and the bell sounds as she has her covered.
Oh no.
Yeah, so she doesn't pin her either. She then hugs Giulia, wipes a tear, smiles, gives her a little playful slap, and leaves. I love Natsupoi. She's like the perfect, like, little, yay, we had a match. Then Saya Iida is ninth. Point of interest, Saya Iida is also super strong Stardom machine. So this is her second appearance in this match, this time as herself. Oh yes, but she comes in and she's like she's strong, right? She's not very tall, but she's very strong. So she just beats the crap out of her for quite a while. You know, hits an avalanche power slam to her at one point, running strikes. She hits a hammerlock back suplex on her. The Giulia hits one of those on her too, but pulls her up, gives her two lariats and a big back elbow, and the bell sounds. so, so then the 10th opponent comes out, and it's Waka Tsukiyama. She is the 0 wins girl. Hasn't beat anybody at all.
Oh no.
Right. And she's the last person, but she has only a certain number of days left before she'll get kicked out of Cosmic Angels if she doesn't win a match. So she's very determined. She comes out, she goes to the top, and she doesn't even wait either. She just waits for Giulia to kind of climb partly to her feet and hits a missile drop kick on her, and then starts, right? She pounds on Giulia relentlessly, like yelling, sit out, clothesline on into the ropes. Like, you know how the Miz does this thing in the corner?
Yeah.
This is like on the ropes. He hits her on the right and then STOs her back. Pretty damn cool move. She locks in a rear naked choke. Giulia falls back though. What is it? Giulia slaps Waka repeatedly, drops her with a knee. Waka comes back with a throat strike though, hits her straight jacket slam. Hammerlock vertical suplex, goes for an avalanche straight jacket. Giulia reverses it and hits an avalanche tiger suplex, but Waka gets up out of it and hits one back. Then Giulia hits the glorious driver, and Waka actually kicks out of the glorious driver. She hits a scoop brainbuster too, but the bell goes. Giulia has survived. Great match. Every single person in this match brought a different story to the table. Every single person. And Giulia at the end, she gets a mic, still staying on her back, by the way. She's lying in the ring on her back, like just dead, right? I mean, the woman just fought 30 minutes against 10 fresh opponents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pretty damn phenomenal, right? She gets the mic and she asks the crowd if they're having a good time. She's like, you guys having a good time? And then she says, I'm doing really great. Kind of. All right. Then she finally sits up. She tells Waka that fighting her felt like fighting Tam, which is a massive compliment, right? She says to Waka, your mentor also had to climb from the bottom. So if you don't give up, one day you'll win. And the important things are beyond that. So hurry up and cross that bridge. I went into this like a title match and you almost beat me. You kicked out of my glorious drivers. Seriously, we had a draw. You ever had one? You did with me. Right. So, I mean, think about that, right? She's really pumping up Waka with that. So that was really cool. Right. And Tam, I need you. You need me, right? So both of you cheer up. To hell with what anyone says. Don't worry about it. Let's just enjoy pro wrestling. Right. So she said she wanted to do the match. Suzuki then came out, right? Because, of course, they had to have their little promo after the match. And she said, I watched you fight 10 people and you were all emotional on the microphone. You wanted to beat 10 people and all you got was a draw. Well, it was fun. Is that enough for you? I guess I can see what I'm lacking where I can develop more. Oh, yeah, February 4th, I'm taking the belt and becoming the face of Stardom. You want to be the face of Stardom? Of course I do. I see. Well, let me tell you something. Giulia is the face of women's wrestling. You're amazing, but you're still just my little sister. So break down that wall. Let's settle things. I cannot wait for this match on February 4th. Suzuki and Giulia. Oh my God. But what a match. What a match. I mean, in case you didn't notice, I'm already telling you straight up, this was my match of the week. This match was amazing. It had so many different little stories in it, so much emotion in places. You know, every one of them doing their best to try to beat Giulia, and Giulia is showing why she is the Stardom champion, the face of Stardom, and I'm not afraid to say it, the face of women's professional wrestling. So good luck, Suzu. You've got your hands full. So that is my report from Japan, and I've already given you my match of the week, though my honorable mentions were Shigehiro Yurie and Shane Saber from Smash Wrestling this week. Loved that match. Psycho Mike, Charles Crowley, Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal, and I also really loved the Jamie Hayter and Emi Sakura match. But what do you got for us this week for your match of the week?
Oh, my match of the week was simply my match or my pick from Wednesday night, last Wednesday, the Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. I thought it was a great match. And I thought the story, even though it was a real life story behind it, was absolutely fantastically told. And yeah, I thought it was a great ending to to last week's Dynamite too. So Mark Briscoe and Jay Lethal.
Cool. Good choice. Like I said, honorable mention for me. Of course, you didn't see the Giulia 10% gauntlet match, right? So
That's true. That's very
that's
true.
very true. Yes. So that brings us then to our wrestler of the week. Who you got for us?
Rest of the week. I mean, I obviously was gonna give it to Mark Briscoe. I mean, there's no one else like it's not even for what he did in the ring, because what he did in the ring was great. But after watching the funeral ceremony, I guess a celebration of life, and seeing how he's handling things, I'm like, yo, this guy's awesome. So just in general, I mean, I gave it to Mark Briscoe.
Cool. That's also a very good choice. I've stuck with in-ring performance for my wrestler of the week. You were right in terms of outer ring performance. I actually haven't seen the funeral, so I cannot judge based on that either. Perhaps if I had, I would have a different choice. But I got to go with my girl who won the 10-person gauntlet match. There's no way I can't go with that performance as wrestler of the week. So well done, Giulia. Once again, you show why you are in fact the face of women's professional wrestling in the entire world. Mercedes Monet, you have nothing on this woman. Nothing, 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 nothing.
Maybe she's gonna fight her later on
She
sometime,
might, she might, and she'll get her
right?
ass kicked. So either way, that's completely fine by me. Although I'm sure they'll only get 5 minutes because I'm sure it'll be like, anyway. Not that I'm bitter or anything, but yeah. But yeah, I will definitely be checking out that the funeral. I want to hear Mark Briscoe's speech, and yeah, the tribute show for sure. I hear there's some pretty great matches on it. So
Yeah. I've seen part of the tribute show, not the whole thing, but there are some good matches and some interesting matches. But
yeah,
right, so
yeah.
yeah, I haven't seen the whole thing, so I can't really judge the entire thing
All right.
right now.
Okay. And with that, then it is time for us to depart. But we will be back on Wednesday with
Hmm.
our prediction and review of this week's AEW Dynamite, including what looks to be some pretty cool matches shaping up on it. But until then, as the great one who better find his way back into the United States always says, goodbye, everybody, and mwah, and good night. Bang.
Good night, everyone.